Cyprus has been at the crossroads of civilizations for millennia and is one of the most diverse and captivating places in the Mediterranean. Located on the edge of Europe, the island has been shaped by cultures, religions and traditions from 3 continents. Its complex recent history means the country is divided into 2 parts that are inherently different, yet remarkably similar. For the traveler, Cyprus offers a wealth of historic sites, spectacular architecture, lively urban centers, stunning natural landscapes, incredible food, and friendly people. In this video, I'm traversing Cyprus on one of the most surprising and rewarding journeys I have undertaken. From the fascinating streets of capital Nicosia to charming villages in the Troodos Mountains. From the walled city of Famagusta to the lively historic port of Kyrenia. From ancient archaeological sites in Paphos and Kourion to the empty streets of Varosha's ghost town. From the striking Greco monastery to the ruins of St. Hilarion Castle. And from the seafront promenade of modern Limassol to the rugged coastal scenery of Cape Greco National Park. So join me exploring the magnificent island of Cyprus. We begin our journey in Nicosia, the intriguing and bustling capital city of Cyprus. It's the island's most important financial and business hub, but also brims with culture and history. First settlements date back some 4,500 years, and slowly grew into a city that was influenced by numerous civilizations. Today it's known by many as the last divided capital in the world, symbolizing Cyprus's complicated political situation. We start exploring Nicosia in the southern part, known as the capital of the Republic of Cyprus. Wandering the narrow alleyways of the historic center feels like stepping back in time. Contrasts are visible at almost every corner, as Greek Orthodox churches, both historic and modern, mix with converted mosques, all within the spectacular Venetian city walls. Don't miss the Ledra shopping street, popular with both locals and tourists, and walk all the way to Lefkara Square, which marks the beginning of the modern part of Nicosia. The streets are wider here, and the buildings taller, making it a very different area to visit. busy corner cafes and restaurants to vibrant farmers' markets. It provides a great insight into daily life in the city. As you make your way through Nicosia, you often notice streets that are blocked with barriers and barbed wire. These form the start of the so-called Green Line, or UN buffer zone, that separates the southern from the northern part of the city. After gaining independence from Britain in 1960, Cyprus experienced some violent years and was eventually divided into a southern Greek and northern Turkish Cypriot part. The Greek side is now a member of the EU, while the Turkish is supported and recognized by Turkey. The border crossing is straightforward, and these days there's a lot of interaction, back and forth. Many people have friends and families living across the border, and the hope of reunification remains. That said, the northern part feels distinctly different, with a noticeable Turkish influence. Smells of fresh bread and baklava welcome you after the crossing, and you hear people speaking mostly Turkish.
Peter James heyecanlı bir sesle "Beni hatırladınız mı?" diye tanıttı kendini. Yunan arkeolog Nikos Kokinos ve BBC'de olay değil diye düşünüyorum.
It's fascinating to explore the alleys here, absorbing the sights and sounds of daily life happening around you. From small bazaars selling groceries and souvenirs to the captivating Büyük Han, a beautiful example of Ottoman caravanserai architecture, and now a popular tourist site. Now walking through some more residential areas, a bit further away from the center of this part of Nicosia. It's a very different atmosphere. Many of the houses are a little bit older and perhaps a bit neglected as well, but beautiful nonetheless. Other places not to miss include the impressive Selemia Mosque, which was being renovated at the time of visit, and a small but delicate Armenian church. After a hearty meal and strong Turkish coffee, it was time to head back to the south and travel on to the next destination. Often praised for its coastline, Cyprus also has a beautiful interior with the spectacular Troodos Mountains at its core. Traversing this region is an adventure in itself, with narrow, winding roads snaking through a landscape of forest-covered peaks, including the inaccessible Mount Olympus, the highest point on the island. Along the way you'll find charming villages with welcoming people and medieval churches and monasteries. The Valley of Agros is known for its vineyards and locally made products, and is a good starting point when driving from Nicosia. You can visit some of the wineries here to see how the wine is made and bottled. The main village is also home to several traditional warehouses and workshops, my favorite of which is Niki's Sweets, that specializes in marmalades and preserved fruits.
Welcome, I am Niki. Here we cook traditional sweets and marmalade. We cook about 90 different products. You can come here, you can tasting everything, and you can see how we cook.
Driving deeper into the mountains, we come across some incredible Byzantine monuments, famous for its colorful frescoes. Scattered around the area, they include the monastery of Agios Ionas Lambadistis and the small but sophisticated Archangelos Michael, in the appealing town of Pedoulas. Probably the most famous historic site in Troodos is the imposing Orthodox Kykos monastery. Founded in the 11th century, it was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times over the years. Today it is one of the wealthiest and most visited monasteries in Cyprus and contains magnificent mosaics, icons and other relics. We travel onwards and reach the west coast of Cyprus for our first glimpses of the Mediterranean Sea. The small city of Paphos has grown into a tourist center and gateway to the island. It remains a friendly place where daily life mixes with the hustle and bustle of the tourist industry. While many visitors come here for the pleasant beaches, the city is also home to the incredible Paphos archaeological site, one of Cyprus's most impressive ancient ruins. Founded in the 4th century BC, Nea Paphos grew into an important strategic and political center during Greek, Roman and Byzantine rule. You can spend hours strolling the grounds of this sprawling site, imagining yourself in eras long gone. A highlight for many are the intricate and well-preserved mosaics, some of the finest in the region. Don't miss the Tomb of the Kings, to explore some of the eerie underground tombs and chambers. Carved out of solid rock, these burial grounds were used by residents of Nea Paphos during Hellenistic and Roman times. we follow the southern shoreline and pass Aphrodite's rock, where, according to legend, the Greek goddess Aphrodite was born. Its mythical status makes it a popular stopover for travelers, who also enjoy the crystal clear waters and beautiful beaches. Not far from here is Kourion, an ancient city-state built on a striking location, overlooking the Mediterranean. While the first origins here date back from Neolithic times, Kourion became a permanent settlement some 3,300 years ago. Many civilizations left their mark here, including Mycenaeans and Greeks. But most of today's ruins date back from the Roman and Byzantine years. We traverse Limassol, also known as Lemesos. This cosmopolitan city is the second largest in Cyprus and an important business and entertainment hub. It's also gaining a reputation as a foodie destination and serves as a convenient jumping-off point for sites in the area. We only spend a few hours here, strolling the palm-fringed promenade and enjoying a refreshing juice before heading back inland. Located on a hillside not far from the main highway is Choirokoitia, one of the oldest and best preserved prehistoric sites in the eastern Mediterranean. It's the earliest permanent settlement found in Cyprus, dating back to the 7th century BC. So behind me are some of the oldest parts of this whole excavation site. It's almost hard to imagine that these were people's living rooms and bathrooms and even kitchens. Remarkable. Walking past reconstructed huts and excavation sites gives a great insight into the evolution of human society in this region. surrounded by steep valleys filled with pine trees and olive groves, is Lefkara, one of the island's most picturesque villages, and our next destination. It offers a great escape from the coastal cities, with a friendly atmosphere and fresh mountain air. Famous for its historic embroidery, lace and silverware production, Lefkara was among Cyprus's most influential towns during the Renaissance. Although many of these flourishing industries collapsed in the 1930s, you can still witness artisans at work in the narrow cobblestone alleys and Venetian merchant-style houses.
Welcome to Lefkara. This is the original what I make here in Lefkara. I working just by memory. We think it and making the design is not any pattern. And this design, the small one with Nelly Leonardo da Vinci, is one of the famous design from Lefkara. I use the Irish linen and cotton for France. It's a traditional what I make is in brown and white color.
We continue our journey to Larnaca, a laid-back coastal city in the southeast of Cyprus. It has a beautiful seaside promenade, where locals and tourists mingle in the many restaurants and cafes. Despite the vast number of travelers arriving at its airport, Larnaca retains a real sense of community and gives a good introduction into Cypriot daily life. Besides the beachfront, the city also boasts a small but intriguing historic center. From Larnaca's fort and Grand Mosque, which is still a working place of worship, to the imposing Church of Saint Lazarus, named after the biblical figure Lazarus of Bethany, who supposedly fled here from Judea after being resurrected. The church provides an eclectic mix of Byzantine architecture and Orthodox influence. We drive further through a countryside filled with tiny villages and farms, and past Ayia Napa, a city known for its holiday resorts and clubbing scene in summer, to reach our final destination in southern Cyprus, Cape Greco Peninsula. This national park is famous for its dramatic rock formations, sea caves and limestone cliffs. It's a beautiful place with rugged scenery, full of walking trails and for the adventurous, cliff diving opportunities. Cape Greco has an end-of-the-world feel, and in fact is also the easternmost point in the EU. We cross the border again and travel to the northern part of Cyprus to visit the walled city of Famagusta. Although first settlements were established here over 2 millennia ago, Famagusta really started to flourish from the 12th century and became one of the wealthiest and most influential places in the eastern Mediterranean. This prosperity and luxury slowly faded during Genoa's and Venetian rule until the city was captured by the Ottoman Empire. Today, the historic center of Famagusta provides a great insight into this former stronghold, with a dense network of alleyways and crumbling churches. At its very core stands the massive Lala Mustafa Mosque, a former cathedral that is now the main place of worship for local Muslims. It's a fascinating building with a combination of Gothic architecture and Ottoman influence, most notably the added minaret. I'm now inside the Lala Mustafa Pasha Mosque, which used to be a cathedral until it was converted into a mosque in the 16th century when the Ottoman Empire invaded Famagusta. It's a remarkable building. Other landmarks include the Otello Tower, an ancient castle built by the Lusinians, and of course the 15-meter-high Venetian walls that surround the old city. Make sure to stop by this famous confectionery, selling everything from wedding cakes to Turkish delights and baklava. Outside Famagusta's city walls, we are tragically reminded of Cyprus's complicated political situation and recent history. This abandoned neighborhood is called Varosha and used to be a thriving beach resort, attracting tourists from afar, including many celebrities. In its heyday, it was given the nickname French Riviera of Cyprus. All that changed in 1974, when Turkish forces invaded northern Cyprus, after a coup inspired by the Greek military junta, essentially splitting the island in two. Varosha's mostly Greek Cypriot inhabitants fled south, intending to return when things would stabilize. In the years that followed, however, the area was fenced off by the Turkish army, and Varosha turned into a ghost town. Closed for decades except for Turkish military and UN personnel. Parts of Varosha have recently been opened to the public. Following a newly paved road, you can walk or cycle past overgrown hotels, restaurants, stores and houses. Doing so is an eerie, somewhat surreal experience, and a stark reminder of the sensitive political reality on the island. For Greek Cypriots, the reopening of Varosha is a worrying development, as it threatens their aspirations to one day return to their homes. We drive through the mountains and reach the northern coastline, dotted with pretty beaches and small towns. After a roadside snack, we arrive in the sleepy hillside village of Bellapais, home to one of the most impressive monuments in northern Cyprus. Bellapais Abbey dates from the 12th century and was built by the Canons Regular, who fled the Holy Land after the fall of Jerusalem to Saladin.
Kilidi altındadır. Sen kapıda onu zindandamış gibi çek. Manastır ekledikleri.
The initial structure was expanded several times over the years and grew into a grand complex, including a church, cloister, communal kitchen and refectory. It's a tranquil place to wander around, especially in the morning, before most visitors arrive. We travel onwards and reach Kyrenia, or Kyrne, most visited city in northern Cyprus, due to its proximity to and ferry connection with Turkey. Its origins can be traced back to the end of the Trojan War, although most of the current city was built in the centuries that followed. The skyline of Kyrenia is dominated by the massive castle, built by the Byzantines, and used by, among others, Richard of Lionheart, the Knights Templar, the Venetians and the Ottomans. It's a phenomenal structure, and walking through its corridors and on top of the bastion towers is a highlight for many people. Kyrenia also has a pretty, old town, with winding alleys that all seem to lead to the picturesque historic harbor. Of great strategic importance for many centuries, the small port is now mostly used by fishing boats and tourist vessels. It's a wonderful place to explore and soak up the atmosphere. Strolling past popular restaurants and cafes, many of which serve traditional Turkish food and pastry. Finish our journey on one of Cyprus's most spectacular locations. Built on top of a craggy mountainside with sweeping vistas all around is St. Hilarion Castle. Named after a monk who lived a secluded life here, a fortified church and chapel were constructed by the Byzantines and further expanded by the Lusinians. Today, you can explore the crumbling towers, tunnels, hidden courtyards and ancient apartments of the remaining ruins of the castle. Climbing the steep pathways and stairs is not for the faint-hearted, but reaching the top rewards travelers with incredible views of the rugged surrounding landscape. That concludes my journey through Cyprus, a diverse and eye-opening travel destination with captivating historic landmarks, spectacular natural scenery, lively urban centers, charming villages, delicious food and friendly people. I realize I have only scratched the surface, and you could spend months exploring this beautiful Mediterranean island. Yet I still hope this video gave you some travel inspiration, or at least provided a glimpse into this complicated but fascinating part of the world. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Travel safely.